Hi folks, Will at LR Workshop. Welcome to some parts that you may not be familiar with, which is why I'm doing this video. Indicator, steering column, stalks, setups, that kind of stuff. This one's from the later models, which is why I'm doing this video. They're a bit of an enigma, not so much known about them, I guess. Since they've not been going wrong, or these are the newer vehicles, they've not been going wrong as much, there's not as much information out there related to what these things are. And the reality is that in the beginning of 2015 model year, Defenders, at least in the UK and Europe, were fitted with DSC, dynamic stability control. And what that requires is a sensor to know how much you're turning the steering wheel, and it then brakes on the, prevents understeer or oversteer, braking on whichever side of the vehicle it needs to help do that. And it needs to know what your steering input is, and then it's also got your sensors on the kind of around the radius arms, which dictate, which show the ECU how much the vehicle's tilting, so then it can work out what it needs to work out in terms of braking. This part number includes everything. Whereas early models, prior to 2015, and all the way back to, well, this one's from mid-1997 onwards, these are about 30 quid, and what you get is the whole kind of bracket assembly with the indicator cancelling ring, and then the indicators lights on the side here. That's about 30 quid. This one is a part number for the whole bracket. We've got the headlight switch and the normal indicator switch, and also the wipers are integral. This is £200 to £300. So in this video, I'm going to try and dig in a bit and try and help some of those later Defender owners to see what we can learn about this setup and how we may be able to reduce the cost of this somewhat. How do you know you've got this? Well, it really comes down to your VIN number. If your VIN number is FA, meaning 2015 model year, then that's what the diagrams say that you should have this. Whether there's a bit of a crossover there between the moving from 2014 into 15 model years, I don't exactly know, but that's all we've got to go off. What that means in practical terms is the change, they started delivering in the UK 2015 model Defenders in July 2014. The last 2014 models were delivered in around September 2014, so July to September. If your vehicle was registered between July and September 2014, you're in a changeover period, you may or may not have it. You'll have to check your VIN number. From about September 2014 onwards, your Defender's probably got DSC. It's quite interesting looking at this. This is what they've done. So this is the steering angle sensor, steering rotation sensor, whatever it is, however it's known. So I'm just going to look through some of the differences here and see what we can learn. Now, this is the box that's fitted on the front here, and it unclips like this, slides over there. It's got its own link lead, this one, which fits in there on that. I don't know if there's a part number for this. I don't think it comes integral with this. I don't know what the part number is for this. If anyone knows, then put that in the comments. But that then sort of sits into this hole on the bottom here, which is one of the first differences we see. Extra drilling. Dimensionally, they're identical. They are pretty much the same on there. So we've got the steering angle sensor. There's the part number, it's a Bosch part. Now, it says do not drop, and I've seen this on a lot of other models of vehicles trying to research these. They seem to be the case that if you drop this thing, there's something inside that gets damaged and it's essentially a scrap part. And this thing on its own is about 100 quid. I've not been able to find this part number, the Bosch part number, sourced anywhere else, but maybe that will come apart in future. Essentially, it's the rotation in there. It measures somehow where your steering wheel is. This is a separate part. So if you have a problem with your DSC, then it may be related to this part. You don't have to replace this whole thing. It should just be this that's the problem, even though it's relatively expensive. What I have read about this is that you need to, when you set this on, you need to set the steering wheel angle in the ECU when this is put back together. So there's a notch there. There's the spigot. Fit that on there. Give it a wiggle. Push it on like that. It clips at the top and the bottom on there. The second one is the indicator cancelling ring. So we've essentially moved from the earlier female on the locking ring and male on the steering wheel to male on the cancelling ring and female on the steering wheel. So as people may already know, but what that means is the steering wheel is matched to this column. So you can't fit any old steering wheel from that would work with this one onto this one, because as you can see, that sticks out quite a lot further. There's going to be a lot more of a recess in those steering wheels. I've not seen one myself, but I imagine there's quite a bit more of a recess that this slots into on this spigot here. This has been referred to somewhat as the fact that the DSC runs the indicator cancelling, and that's what I kind of believed before I got my hands on this thing, that this sensor would run the ECU and then cancel the indicator somehow. What I found is that is actually not the case. If we put this into turning right, turn the steering wheel to the right, we hear the click because there's that spigot in there. Turn back to the left and it cancels. So if we go left, turn to the left, turn back straight, and it cancels. So I would say the indicator cancelling mechanism is actually the same. The only thing it's really doing is had this adjustment to add this extra, the indicator cancelling ring, basically just extending it a bit so they could fit this sensor on. And this sensor is a thing that only works with DSC. It's got nothing to do with the indicator assembly. What we can see from this is that even though this is now one part number for all these bits on here, these parts are the same. They are the same. The headlight switch is the same. You can unscrew it there, take that off. This one, a bit harder. You take these bolts out. I did another video about these, and I'm not wholly sure how to get these off. Maybe you press it down from the top whilst levering up, and that flips these little arms a different direction. I've done it before, and it's kind of snapped off a bit, but potentially in theory, there's a way that you can replace this. The only difference I've seen on this is the fact that earlier models on here, these had security Torx bolts in there, whereas these ones have just got posi drive screws on there. Maybe they're just cutting corners a bit. I have no idea why they went to do this, because if we look at the other end, where it really matters, connectors are the same. 8-way, same dimensions, it's upside down, but the same connectors basically, same wiring colours. Completely. So there's no difference really in the way the connectors are. So what that means is that these will fit any Defender back till mid 1997. I'll put the chassis number on the screen. So what does that mean in practical terms? If you have a problem with the stalk or the headlight switch, you can just buy the part number that would otherwise go with these and then fit them in. That's the cheaper way of doing it. They're not too expensive, between 10 and 30 pounds for those parts. So you don't have to buy the whole thing. If you have a problem with your DSC sensor, you just have to buy this part. You don't have to buy the whole indicator cancelling mechanism. The only time you would have to buy this entire thing is if your indicators, horn, or flashers, headlight, dip, what have you, stop working, because this is integral with this bracket. Because this is all integral in here, the bracket's different and this is different here. So as a potential modification, if anyone's able to modify one of these with a kind of a sleeve or something to fit onto there to convert to this, then that would be a cheap way of being able to use this to convert into that, to then replace one of these when they break. And it would probably, these are 30 quid, those are 200 quid, quite a bit of saving there to be had. Also, if this bracket, because these things can come out, unlatch here and unscrew the bolts there, the brackets could be quite easily made. You could modify this one. You just need the extra kind of spigoty bit there and then the hole in there. And that's the only difference that I've seen for these parts. If anyone's got anything else they know about this newer part or the DSC system on Defenders, then please leave a comment below. A big thank you to all the supporters of LR Workshop who allow me to buy these parts and make these videos. Hopefully it is some kind of service to you later owners. I wonder if this is a money-making scheme, whether they just say, oh, you know what, owners of 2015-16 model Defenders, they're the most expensive Defenders ever made, apart from the special editions and whatever, but maybe we could rinse some money out of them, because I can't see why you couldn't just offer, you've been offering this for decades in this kind of arrangement with the 3 different parts, why would you just pre-build them? Maybe they come, maybe it's the way they come assembled from whoever makes these, Lucas or whatever. You know, maybe they come pre-assembled now. It's just cost-cutting, cheaper way to do it. I don't know. Or maybe it's this pressing that's the more expensive bit, because they've been running this mold for, you know, 100,000 vehicles probably, whereas this one, you know, it's probably only 20,000 vehicles over time, probably over 100,000 vehicles there, but over, you know, maybe 20,000 vehicles the last run out. Maybe it's more expensive because they've had to change this bit and the tooling, whatever, to change to make that is more expensive. Who knows? Who knows? Anyway, I hope you found that useful. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.